Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Total War Warhammer replay. Today we're playing Lizardmen versus Dwarfs, and this is a very interesting matchup because basically I actually have a very good counter to Dwarfs. I actually have literally a set pick that I always bring against Dwarfs. And basically what I have in the front lines, I have 4 Saurus warriors, and then I have skink cohorts on either side. Behind them I have Temple Guard, 2 Temple Guard. Then I have the normal kroxigors with anti-infantry, and basically Lord Master Monday and a Revivification Crystal. And I haven't lost, okay? I literally have never lost bringing that against Dwarfs, because it deals so well. What you do is you send the Saurus Warriors in the front line, the Skinks come around the side and deal with any Slayers, you trade cost efficient, the kroxigors get in there, and Master Monday just flies around getting healed and basically doesn't die. But of course, we've got some new Lizardmen toys. So this time, I've gone a bit cheaper in the front line. I don't have as many Saurus Warriors in the front line. I also, sort of had to make ends do other places because, of course, Sacred Kroxigors do cost a little bit more. But I wanted to give these guys a try against Dwarfs. Now, Sacred Kroxigors, they do, of course, take out that anti-infantry, which is quite big when, of course, going up against Dwarfs, because, of course, Dwarfs do have anti-infantry. So taking Sacred Kroxigors is, may not be the best thing to take against Dwarfs. But basically, they swapped it out for a bit better armor-piercing damage and some magical attacks. Now, this might be why it was a bad choice to bring them against Dwarfs, because, of course, Dwarfs do have magical resistance. But I wanted to try these guys out and actually see how they played out. But basically, we've got 2 Sacred Kroxigors. We have Master Monday. Master Monday, always my favourite pick against Dwarf. Basically, he's just so good. Armor piercing, putting him on Slan, 130 armor. 41 melee defense. He also has, Shield of the Old Ones. He has Apotheosis. You have Curse of the Midnight Wind, but of course you have Banishment and Ruination of Cities, which are just so good at disrupting the front line. We also have a Revivification Crystal and some other units here and there. As my opponent, playing as the Dowie, he's gone for a very heavy, anti-Lizardmen. Well, no, I wouldn't say anti-Lizardmen, anti-Dinosaur build. He's got Ungren Iron Fist, always a very good pick. Of course, anti-large. He's got some real nice abilities like Red Ruin, which basically combine that with the Death Blow, basically makes him able to one-shot big, scary dinosaurs. The front line, though, he's got Miners mixed in with some great Dwarf Warriors with great weapons and some Longbeards. But in this back line here, here's obviously going to be his main way of dealing with the dinosaurs. He's got Thunderers, 2 Thunderers. He also has Troll Hammer Torpedoes. They are a very cool looking unit. You don't see them very often because, of course, basically they're only very good in certain matchups against like Norska, and then again you've got to have units protecting them, and they've got to be on a good map. He also has a Runesmith, pretty good. Now, the Runesmith actually did get a very recent change in this patch. If you take a look at the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, actually now it doesn't do any damage. It just literally slows charge speed and speed, which is actually really good now when combined with these other units. Basically, you're going to be slowing down dinosaurs and stuff like that. And, he also has some Dragon Back Slayers over there with a cannon with, anti-large. And he also has the Giant Slayers. Giant Slayers are a very niche pick as well. I mean, these guys are very expensive to bring, and for no armor, it's very, very careful. Of course, they do have Death Blow themselves, that unbreakable, magical resistance, but yeah, I want to see how this goes. But anyway, without further ado, we're getting straight into this gameplay. So, my Sacred Kroxigors do take a little bit of damage quite early on from the cannon, so I do use a Revivification Crystal spell, or I don't know what you call it, a spell, an ability on them, and basically I'm keeping back my units here and waiting for an opportunity, basically letting my front line get in there first, and then move in with everything else. Basically, I was trying to get the Skinks round the flank sides here. His Miners do throw in the blasting charges. I do try to dodge it. He does some nice early damage on them, but basically it's probably quite good for me because both these units are very cheap, so dealing with them both is actually alright. But the frontline engagement is about to happen. We are having Saurus Warriors with shields. I do give them shields, yes, of course, against Thunderers and stuff like that. I've got the frontline engagement happening here, though. I mean, Saurus Warriors versus Dwarfs with great weapons. I do believe the great weapons will win that, which is not, not too surprising. It might be quite an even trade, actually. I'm not too sure. We'll just have to see. But of course, combining that with the Thunderers, it is going to be taking a lot of damage. But that's not really where my main power is going to be coming from. My main power is going to be coming from the Temple Guard and the Sacred Kroxigors. But still, yet again, I wanted to try these guys out. I wanted to see how they flare against Dwarfs in battle because, of course, I'm so used to bringing just standard Kroxigors, and I wanted to try these guys out. I do use a Shield of the Old Ones here. It's got Temple Guard mixed in there with the Saurus Warriors. I was trying to basically push through the front line, grind through the front line, and then get into that juicy back line. We do get one set of Skinks getting back in. You see, this is always my plan. I get the Skinks in there. You see, the thing is, Skinks engaging against, like, Giant Slayers. Now, that's obviously, you might say that's not a very good engagement for me, but actually it really is, because, Skinks cost 300, and against Giant Slayers, with no armor, they actually can do some really nice damage. Do have a Ruination of Cities going down. Of course, this is exactly what I like doing. When my opponent sort of Death Stars with Dwarf, with, troll hammers and stuff like that. I use ruination of cities and, you know, banishments coming down. I think do believe this is a banishment here coming down. My opponent did, though, react very, very quickly to that, which is very, very good. But I'm good Iron Fist. He is looking for an opportunity to get onto Slan here, but basically what I do with Slan here is I basically terror out everything in the front line and let my, you know, other units get in. But you know, Sacred Kroxigors doing good there. I do believe they cause terror or fear. I think they cause fear, don't they? Yeah, they do cause fear. But you've got some skinks over here coming back in. They did get routed off by the miners. But basically on this right flank here, some Sacred Kroxigors have taken a lot of damage. I do believe that was because they were getting focused by the cannon, but that's actually alright, you know. I mean, I'd rather he's targeting that than maybe Master Monday or the Bastardodon Revivification Crystal, but luckily well, now unfortunately he does start targeting them, which is very, very bad for me. But I say Bounce Power does go into my opponent's favour here. My Sacred Kroxigors are taking a large amount of damage. They're mixed in there with the Giant Slayers and the Temple Guard, but this isn't too bad, really. I got Temple Guards fighting against, you know, you've got the Curse of the Midnight Wind going down here, lowering, you know, the armor and the melee attack of these nearby troops. But I've got some skinks coming in, but of course, these Troll Hammer torpedoes, the Thunderers as well, this is where, you know, the real problem is. And this is why I actually prefer bringing in the Kroxigors, because the Kroxigors, I just find they're so much better at dealing with this front line. They don't get stuck up in here and stuff like that. But you say, my Sacred Kroxigors already are routing up. I was bringing Master Monday back because I needed to heal him. I used an Apotheosis on him, and I do believe I use a Revivification Crystal. I was sort of drawing back these Giant Slayers. This was my sort of plan here. Bring the Giant Slayers back and literally just let these skinks here deal with them. And my opponent pretty much poorly micromanages these Giant Slayers here. Basically, they get sort of stuck here. My skinks literally just take them out, which is really, really good for me. As you can see, the skinks are doing a lot of damage to these Giant Slayers, which are really expensive, which is very, very nice for me. I send the Bastardodon in because, of course, I wanted it to help out with these units here. I do get some Temple Guard into the back line here, finally, and they are starting to deal with the cannon, which is really good for me. And, of course, Temple Guard are one of the things that I needed to make sure that I keep alive in this fight, but they are being shot by the Troll Hammer torpedoes. This might have been one of my biggest mistakes in this match, just leaving the Troll Hammer torpedoes online for too long, because basically you've got to get into that gun line. But usually what I would do is send Master Monday charging through, you know, just dealing with a lot of this sort of stuff. But of course my opponent does have a lot, you know, a lot of gun line, well, a big gun line here. But I think the Sacred Kroxigors were one thing that have just let me down this fight. As I say, they've routed off completely now. I don't really have any left, which is very unfortunate. A Shield of Old Ones was going down there, though. This was one good engagement I did have over here. I do have Temple Guard fighting against Umbra and Iron Fist. This is actually really good for me because, of course, these are some of the only units that can really go toe-to-toe with Umbra and Iron Fist and actually do some nice damage. And, you know, getting him tied up in all this is actually really good because then he's not chasing down big, scary dinosaurs. But my Bastardodon Revivification Crystal here was in a bit of a struggle. He was being shot by the Troll Hammer torpedoes and the Dragonback Slayers here. We do have a Rune of Wrath and Ruin going down, so it is slowed down, giving my opponent's Slayers a chance to get in there. But basically, I was trying to keep Master Monday and the Bastardodon together at all costs here, keeping them together. Iron Fist, though, has done good work over there. He's actually taken out a lot of these Temple Guard units here, doing a lot of damage, but he is now pulling out. But basically, my plan was here, so if I can use the, you know, these skinks coming back in, if I can use Lord Master Monday and this Revivification Crystal and sort of deal with this gun line as best as I possibly can, I could be in a really good, you know, situation here. Of course, as you can see, that over here, though, this was what I was talking about. These skinks have literally cleared out those Giant Slayers. They completely died. Excuse me. They completely died back here, which is really, really good for me. Of course, Umbra and Iron Fist is coming back in and looking for an opportunity here. But, of course, we're going to get a nice charge into this gun line, doing a lot of nice damage here. And this is what, you know, I really like bringing Master Monday for. He can just clear through Dwarfs so easily with Sand, almost up to 100 kills, which is really, really nice. Of course, we do have the Skinks coming in. They're fighting against the Dragonback Slayers, which is, again, actually a really good fight for me. Of course, they won't win that, but, you know, tying down those, you know, Dragon Slayers with Skinks is actually really what I like doing in this sort of build. We do have the Revivification Crystal coming back in, getting a nice charge on these Troll Hammer torpedoes. They actually do have quite decent leadership and quite high armor. I mean, is it 120 armor for those guys? I don't know. It might be. I think it is. Yeah, 125 armor for those guys. That's quite a lot, actually, for some, you know, little Troll Hammer torpedoes. I guess they are covered in armor. But we've still got this Temple Guard alive. I think my Temple Guard here was sort of my last stand of hope here. I was trying to keep these guys alive at all costs. I was using Apotheosis and Revivification of, well, see, Apotheosis going down here, trying to keep them alive. Of course, I don't think Apotheosis actually gives them, well, what's it called? It doesn't actually heal them, give their units back, unlike the Revivification Crystal. But basically, it's, you know, it's still quite even here. If I could rout off some of these, you know, units here, still getting some nice charge. I mean, Master Monday now up to 136 kills, which is really, really nice. This, Bastardodon here is trying to chase down these Troll Hammer torpedoes. Of course, does get slowed by the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, and now does just get face punched in the face by all these Troll Hammer torpedoes, which is actually, you know, alright, but I think we do just manage to get in. So we do manage to stop that, but unfortunately it is on the verge of routing. We do rout off the Runesmith, which is really good here, but of course this gun line is still online. A Temple Guard, I have used a Revivification Crystal on them, trying to keep them alive at all costs here. So basically, if I was able to deal with maybe Ungrim Iron Fist here, but of course Ungrim Iron Fist is a real big struggle here, I'm basically cycle charging as much as I possibly can with Lord Master Money and these the Revivification Crystal, but unfortunately that does rout off here. The Dragonback Slayers have made sure that, of course, all Slayer units are unbreakable, and then that gives my opponent a chance to get his Trollhammer torpedoes back online, doing some serious nice damage here, really doing a lot of life damage. I was trying to shut down so many units at once here, which was really, really hard to do, and Master Money does rout off, but very well played to my opponent. That was a really fun game. I actually really did enjoy that one. It actually teaches me a lot about the new Lizardmen and Dwarf sort of matchup now, because I wanted to see if Sacred Kroxigors actually made a massive difference, but in my opinion, it's better to still bring the standard Kroxigors, and you know, well, that's what that's why you play these games. You know, you bring the standard Kroxigors. I actually had another interesting game. I will tell you about this. Just a very interesting game about, like, I think it was Gyrocopters versus the Amaxon pack. I think it is the Razordon packs. If you're ever struggling as Lizardmen to deal with Gyrocopters, bring the Razordon packs. That is literally what they are made for, in my opinion. They are so good at dealing with Gyrocopters. So bring the Razordon packs if you want to deal with the Gyrocopters. But other than that, very well played to my opponent. This was a really fun game. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.